Now, as I told you when I was talking about clarity, my last talk, how many of you were here for my grand finale? Okay, good. So you got to see how graceful I am. So for those of you who don't know, I talked on July 17th, and the theme was surrender. So I have 2 slides from that talk because I thought, wow, it so hit me how about the surrender. So Gilmore, if you could put my first slide. So I love this. Life is too short to wake up in the morning with regrets. So love the people who treat you right, forgive the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason. If you get the chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said it would be easy. They just promised it would be worth it. Dr. Seuss, who they're taking out of their that they don't want his words. But isn't that true? And it meant a lot to me that day when I said it, but it even means so much more now. And then the next one, I'm going to stop. Yesterday, I was clever and wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I am changing myself.
Right on.
Right? So I want to tell you about what happened and where I am now, because I think it's so for me, it was very profound. I have to tell you, I was a little, I'm just going to say it, pissed off that day when I fell. I was a little upset because there was a flooring up there that shouldn't have been up there. And so what happened was I knew it was there, but I didn't know exactly because the carpet. And so as I'm stepping, you notice I'm very thoughtful of where I'm stepping. But what I didn't know was where my back heel hit. And it hit on the lip of this wooden floor, and that's what threw my balance off, and I fell. So I'm like, really? You left that up there, And so anyway, I had to have a full hip replacement. Had a wonderful doctor. If you ever need a hip, go to Dr. Schnauzer. He's fabulous. He is fabulous. And I have to tell you, my whole experience in there, everybody was so loving. In fact, the nurses would come in on their breaks and sit and talk with me, And also during that time, I want to thank so many of you that sent me so many beautiful cards. The row that Dr. Lori made this beautiful, beautiful orchid, and it's still there. It's beautiful. And then also Bud and Angela and Mimi sent me a beautiful flower, and Reverend Dale sent me a beautiful arrangement with Dr. Sam and Mark Dumont, and it was beautiful. And Alan and Marcy, your beautiful plant that you sent me is on my dining room. It's so beautiful. And the cards, and Christine Cummings and Isla, I haven't started the puzzle yet, but I don't like it because doesn't look like it's squared. It's going to be a lot harder to put together. It's a beautiful sunflower, and I still have your cactus too. And all the cards and the thoughts. And then today I got, I'm going to share that one later. But anyway, Barry gave me this turtle and a beautiful bracelet today, and he always is giving me beautiful gifts. But anyway, so I have the surgery, my son comes down, and my other son lives with me, and they're taking care of Mom. And I was home for a couple of days. The physical therapist came and did some painful things with me, and walking around with that stupid walker, and just to go to the bathroom, I had to have a special toilet and all. Anyway, long story short, all of a sudden I'm home for 2 days, and my heart starts rapidly beating. And when I was in there, they said they found when I was in there the first time that I had some clots in my lungs, and they were giving me blood thinners for that and stuff. But I said, Ryan, this isn't right. I said, don't call an ambulance, let's just go, because I only lived 10 minutes from the hospital. I went there. They were going to use paddles on me to get my heart stopped. They were worried if the medication didn't work, but luckily it took. Anyway, so I'm back in the hospital, and I'm going to tell you something that I don't want you, this service is all about love. and oneness and the power of who we are. And so what happened, in fact, the next slide, please. Unleash your potential is what I chose. And I'm in there, and they start taking all kinds of scans, and they gave me a diagnosis of cancer in my abdomen. And, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. That's their diagnosis. That's what they diagnosed. That's not who I am or what I am. And so it was, and I have, my oncologist is Dr. Jennison, and he's fabulous. His whole staff is fabulous. And so I'm happy you like my hair, but I look like the turtle that you gave me under this. This is a wig. But what was interesting is Dr. Jennison told me because of the chemo, I would be losing my hair. And I'm thinking, oh, dude, I've got so much hair. Anyway, and so it's coming out in clumps after my first chemo. And I said, you know what, I'm going to cut it. This is ridiculous. So I went down to my girl, and I cut it. And really, this was the cut. In fact, I think Ginny, I sent you a picture. She wanted, and I said, oh, I got a new do, and I sent her a picture. Well, even after the cut, it was still coming. I said, forget it. And Eisenhower has this free wig thing that you go to. They're fabulous. And Elizabeth went with me. She took me, and they had this wig that looked like the haircut I got. It's a little redder, but anyway, so this is a wig. So now that you know, I might start getting some funky wigs and start wearing those now that you know. All right. So anyway, my next slide, please. So I want to tell you this story about how I got to be here. When I turned 40, I had decided there was an emptiness in my soul. I'd been married now for almost 21 years, but there was just this emptiness within me. And so I had just turned 40, and something happened, and I knew that the marriage was over. I could not. There was an emptiness within me. Have you ever had an emptiness within you? Okay. So anyway, here I had two sons, a 5 and a 7-year-old. And I thought, okay, this is the worst thing I could do, but I knew it would be worse if I stayed. And so my husband and I, we talked it out, and he was upset. He wasn't expecting, but I told him I wasn't happy. He said he was happy. I said, how can you be happy if I'm not happy? And it wasn't bad, but it was, and anyway, so that started my search. So a few months after that, I took my kids with my business partner. We took our boys, because she had 2 boys too. We went skiing up in Lake Tahoe. And I was meditating this one night because I was just in this dark, like, oh my God, what have I done? What am I doing? And in my meditation, it was dark, and I kept seeing a light flicker and flash. And I kept focusing on it when I was meditating, and I said, oh, no matter how dark it is, God's Spirit, that light is always there. And then what came to me was, no, Laura, that light is you. That is your light. That is always there. I want you to remember that. Your light is always there. And so I hadn't found this teaching. I wasn't even looking for it. I shared with a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, that I've been going through all this. She said, I've got this lady in San Diego you should go to, and she's very spiritual, and So I went to, her name was Esperanza. And I went down there for a couple times, and that was the first time I learned anything about our oneness and spirituality, and it kind of sparked something. And she did this kind of this process where we went to find our divine purpose. And this is what came up for me when we did it. I am a beacon of universal light and unconditional love. I heal myself by allowing all my feelings to flow freely without judgment, blame, shame, or guilt. I accept and love all of me. I share this wisdom with others, freeing them of ignorance and limitations, guiding them to their true essence of pure love and pure light, guiding them back to God. This was way before I ever found this center. This was a couple of years. So what I want you to know is We all have a divine purpose. Did I think I was going to be a minister? If you would have told me that, in fact, people who know me cannot believe this. Okay, I have a potty mouth. I'm going to confess all my confessions right now. Don't I, Eric? And proud of it sometimes. Okay, he said something. Somebody said something to me. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said, "Do you think God gives a shit what word you use?" All right. Okay, this might not get on Facebook or whatever, wherever they put this, but anyway, so it's amazing how things just unfolded in my life. I was searching, and a friend that I had met at Esperanza, he said, "Oh, there's this lady up in Barstow. You want to go and see her?" It was Byron Katie in her living room up in Barstow. We're all sitting on the floor hearing her up there. And she was amazing. And then she bought us all these fabulous burritos for lunch she had brought in. And it was wonderful. Still searching. But I felt like I was being guided here. And in fact, and then I was into Marianne Williamson, Return to Love and all that. I just started here, people would give me things. And I'm driving by here one day, and I saw they had a bookstore. And I came in and spoke with Tom Lobeck, who the bookstore is named after. Didn't know who he was. And he told me some stuff about the place, and I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't come back for a couple of years. So then I got into conversations with God. I'm in Costco one day. There's a book there, book number 2, and I read it, and that was like the second chapter. I'm on my knees crying, sobbing, because I knew this was my truth. And then I got to be with Neil Donald Walsh. He took me, I went up to his house in Ashland and did a bunch of stuff with him. And I remember, and oh God, what was her name that was there? Barbara Marx Hubbard was there. And I'm sitting there breaking bread with Barbara Marx Hubbard. And then she did this beautiful meditation. And I went out, and then afterwards she said, just go by yourself. And I kind of went and I said, God, what am I doing here? I mean, I cannot believe that I am here. Why? And what came to me was, Laura, just like the disciples, just keep following. Just keep, And so that's how I've lived my life. All right? Not really knowing what my purpose was, but just following. Get clarity on who you are. I still wasn't clear on who I was or what I was doing. My next slide, please. This came from Facebook. Life can be difficult if all you see is everything that's wrong. Start focusing on what's right, what's good, what's constructive, no matter what you're facing. If you choose a positive mindset, you'll emerge the winner. So if you want to feel better, you've got to think better. All right? So here I am now, and so when my son from up in Thousand Oaks, he was down because he was worried about what was going on, and my other son lives here. And when they sent the oncologist and Dr. Jennison, and he said, well, we're going to have blah, 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 and, whatever he thinks is going to happen. And he's telling me about the surgery, and I will be off for surgery. He told me that I'm going to have like a full hysterectomy, and I go, damn, you mean I can't get pregnant now? Gee, And so anyway, so here's the thing. That's what they saw. That's their diagnosis. That is not who I am. Okay? And it was so cute. So my one son, my Corey, the one that's at Thousand Oaks, he started getting teary-eyed and crying, and my other son, Ryan, who actually lives with me, he's bipolar, so he's on medication. So he was so cute. He's standing there, and he goes, I'm sorry, he said, but because of my meds, this is the only emotions I can show. Okay, you gotta love that. Don't you have to love that? He felt guilty because Corey was crying and he wasn't. I said, I don't want anybody to cry. I don't want anybody to cry. So here's the thing about the surrender. But for the fall, I had a different outlook. They would not have found what they found when they found it. Okay? So something good comes out of everything. And I've been listening to Louise Hay and Joe Dispenza and just really getting clarity. You know, if it's all energy, we believe in the particles and the waves, it's all energy. So, okay, of course I'm not, and so, in fact, I had a checkup with my oncologist. I was telling you when I said, oh, I can't get pregnant, and he's telling me that. And I said, well, I'm going to speak on October 2nd. I'm going to tell the congregation. And he goes, oh, no, I don't think you should, you know. And I said, no. I said, because what I want from you and what I always want to give to you is love. I don't want you to go into fear about this. This is a journey we're taking together. I want you to send me love and light like you always have. I don't want you to ask me, so how are you doing? No, I want you to say, you look fabulous, I love you, and just send that to me, just like you've been doing today. Everybody's been saying. And what I wanted to tell you is funny, Barry, is when you gave me that turtle, without my wig, I look like that turtle. At least that's what my son says, and I have to agree. But anyway, so that's what I want to tell you. And then I think that's the last one, isn't it? Oh, you can spend a lifetime trying to be one with Great Spirit, or simply focus on love and realize you already are. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on your love for yourself and your love for me. And I know, you know, I apologize, poor Daniel. He said, so what's your talk about? Because I didn't want to send this out on Facebook or text and stuff. I wanted to say it to you, to your face and to your heart. And so I said, well, I'm going to tell you now, because I thought, well, it's not fair for him to be up there and then to hear this and not know this. But look what it did for my body, right? And so I can get into my old clothes again. Wow! And so anyway, but I just want you to know, so Friday they did like a pelvic scan with the contrast and without the contrast. And of course, you get my chart. So I went in there today. I said, should I look at this to see, because it had the test results. And it was talking about the masses and so forth. And it said it's shrinking there, you know, and I go, of course it is. Now, of course, I can't understand it all, but I knew that that's what it would be, you know. And there was a part of me at first, but what I did decide too is on this thing. I said, okay, where's in my life? I need to focus on the positive. And I said, I have to stop watching the friggin' news all the time. Right? And I decided that was really the only place in my life, and I would get, you know, I'd get all stirred up, and I'm not doing that anymore. I will listen a little bit, so I know a little bit, like I know what's happened in Florida. Thank God Dr. Joe doesn't live where that happened. But you know what I loved about it? I love how we as a nation come together in times of crisis. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you are. We come together as a nation. That is when we're at our best. And so I want you to always be at your best. That's what we teach here. We teach our love and our oneness. And if nothing else, you know, and then the doctor, finally when I told him how I was presenting it, he, you know, fist punched me and said, all right, you go. And he said, and you know, Laura, he said, from the moment I told you about what we found and stuff, you were like, all right, well, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, whatever you see, whatever you think, but that does not define who I am. And here's the thing. None of us is guaranteed another minute, another hour, another day. None of us know when we're going to go. So the gift of this is I even love deeper now, and I love more, and I cherish everything I see and I experience, because that's what we're supposed to do. Don't take a fall or whatever. Do that right now. You don't need to have this happen, but focus on love. Realize, you know, even people that we just go, that person's an idiot, or what are they doing, or what are they thinking? We've got to stop that. We need to send them love, because we do have the power to heal this world. We have that power. We need to tap into it. Everything starts with an idea in our conscious mind, but go to that subconscious. We have the power to create. So I want you to unleash your potential. I want you to send me your love and your light as I send it to you. And I don't know what else to say other than I love you all so much. Thank you.